Hi, thanks for tuning in to this short video on the importance of forest management planning in Minnesota. I'm Howard Hoganson, faculty member in the Forest Resources Department at the University of Minnesota. I'm also stationed here at Grand Rapids. Much of northern Minnesota is forest land. Our university, with its important land grant mission, has long been committed to help manage Minnesota's forest lands effectively. The economies of northern Minnesota communities are tied closely to this valuable, renewable resource. This is the Chapman Plantation. Even back in 1900, Dr. Herman Chapman was concerned about the future of Minnesota's forests. He planted this stand of red pine to help better understand forest management opportunities. Red pine, also called Norway pine, grows fast and produces valuable sawlogs. It has long been Minnesota's most planted tree species. Many visitors are surprised that the Chapman Plantation is not a natural stand and suggest that it should not be harvested. We have no plans to harvest it. However, all these large pine trees will eventually die. And look at the relatively few pine trees in the understory. Too few to keep this a pine stand indefinitely. We at NC Rock have helped develop analyses of Minnesota's forestry future. In the 1990s, for Minnesota's first ever generic environmental impact statement, we focused on the sustainable development opportunities of the forest products industry. A statewide perspective was needed because of potential impacts of development on existing wood users and other forest values. We also spent years helping develop the current forest management plans for both national forests in Minnesota. Those plans emphasize integrating ecological and economic objectives. Our current forest planning research is addressing climate change and spatial arrangement of the forest for wildlife. Keys to past and present studies are the importance of a broad landscape or systems perspective and the long-term nature of forestry. Foresters strive to avoid irreversible mistakes. Once an older stand like this one is harvested, it takes many years to replace. Stakeholders want to develop goals for forests, plus it is important to know how to manage the forest to achieve those goals. Computers and applied math are key to exploring the almost infinite number of ways that one could color a map of the stands in northern Minnesota to show when to harvest each stand. Even our fastest computers could not realistically compare all potential coloring combinations. Math helps us find good combinations. Our top students often want to apply STEM skills to help make a difference by finding good solutions to important and challenging environmental problems. Forest stakeholders often ask, are we cutting too much? What is our allowable cut? It is important to realize that investing in management can impact the allowable cut. Let's consider this a little more closely. Economic analyses of stand-level regeneration options can seem gloom and doom because costs occur early and most direct financial benefits occur many years later. However, when analyzed from a forest-wide perspective, regeneration investments can be much more appealing. Why? Because these investments might help raise the allowable cut for the forest relatively soon, or help keep it from declining. It can also help promote preferable tree species. Right here in Itasca County, the foresight, statewide leadership, and large private investments in white pine regeneration by Rayala Forestry is a good example. They realize that public agencies in Minnesota are unlikely to continue to sell mature pines unless it is clear that a sustainable supply will be available for the future. Managing some areas of the forest more intensively for timber value can help us meet the needs of local communities and also potentially allow us to emphasize environmental or recreational values in other parts of the forest. Proactive, detailed planning is critical for this to happen. Thanks for your interest in Minnesota forests.